Show number 5.
This otaku's life.
I like staying at home. I don't have any problem with working on projects during my off hours from work, yet I'm a very social person. I'll never replace a project to actually have an opportunity to hang out with friends outside of the house. In my case, a lot of the time my friends come here. We hang out, we watch movies, we watch TV, we talk about anime, we record a podcast. I've always been very social, and I have no problem with talking to a complete stranger, especially if I know that we're going to have some form of common interest. But I do like spending time at home working on projects of my own. The definition of being an otaku is someone who likes to work on projects, likes to work on hobbies, likes to do things at home, and rarely ever leaves the house. The original definition certainly implies somebody who is very passionate and yet very insociable. One of the amazing things in the US is that we're a great melting pot, and we take an idea, something that's external from our environment, and we embrace it and we own it. And after a couple generations, we twist all the negativity out of it, or sometimes we enhance that. My point is that otaku once had a negative connotation, but in the US, it's more mainstream now. And when it's embraced, it has a different meaning. I always thought about being an otaku as someone who's very passionate about interest, and not specifically about Japanese culture or animation or cosplay. I think you can be an otaku about a lot of things. If you are a musicphile, you could be a music otaku. If you like movies, you could be a movie otaku. But with all the twisted negativity out of that. In the early days, a comparison would be maybe a Trekkie, except Trekkie has a very strong focus about Star Trek. Otaku, to me, means more. I've also found that when people like to label things, they need a way to describe somebody. Usually that definition they impose on you is more about them than it is about you. Sure, I like anime, but I don't live and breathe it. When I go to work, I separate my general interests outside of that environment. When I'm out talking with people about podcasting, I could spend a long time talking about that topic and not necessarily anime. Being an otaku does not define you in such a very focused manner. I think people are very multifaceted. I think the otaku just means love for a lot of things. Sure, it can start with one aspect of Asian culture. Certainly, otaku is more associated with a Japanese culture. Now, I've spoke on a lot of topics with regards to this. Community, fandom, identity. I think there's a balance in all of that. How you present yourself to others certainly can help people find a category for you. And maybe that is an otaku, but it doesn't have to be. It's not that you're living a secret life. It's just a way that you define yourself and how you categorize your interests. Over the years, I've occasionally run into people out of the blue or inside a work scenario and found they're a closet otaku. They felt some difficulty in admitting that they knew something about it. I remember one time I worked at an ISP and they didn't have anyone who knew Max. I certainly did. After work, I would go to this ISP and I would work the late hours. And one time, this guy came in late at night and he was looking to pick up his PC. And my friend, who was also in the office, and he was wearing an Otakon shirt. And this guy who was picking up his PC looked at Otakon and he started describing how he takes his family there every summer. To him, it was an event that he shared with his whole family. And for a moment, I found that surprising. But this wasn't the only occurrence. I had seen this time and time again. There used to be an age of people that were interested in this type of stuff. And they shared it among each other, where they shared it very privately. And then over the ages, the generations, they started to produce children. And those children got exposed to the same love and passion. And they started to, in turn, become otaku as well. Of course, this isn't always the case. I certainly have heard of parents who are much older than me who have kids who do not share the same interest. But now, with the internet and how mainstream it is today, it is so easy to connect with a younger generation on this topic, not just anime. So how do you find what your otaku is? What is your flavor? What is your particular subcategory? Think about it for a moment. What are the things that you're interested in? And is it just isolated to a Japanese culture? Is there something more that you like? My stepbrother, as example, loves records. He gets excited if he sees a particular old record, something of a limited pressing. But it's not just the collection, it's not just finding the prize, it's putting it into his record player and listening to it as well. I wouldn't call him a record file, I would call him a record otaku, a music otaku. He has a strong appreciation for the kind of music he's interested in. And so even though it's not Japanese, I still consider him in some manner or another an otaku. Because it's not about how other people label you, it's about how you label yourself. Being an otaku to me is about a lot of things. Find that inner otaku and own it, embrace it, and don't be afraid to share. And it was only until I owned it that I felt comfortable with admitting that. Thank you everyone once again for listening to this week's show. If you'd like to send us feedback, you can do that at thisotakuslife@gmail.com. And we have Twitter. You can always send us a tweet at thisotakuslife. And we would love it for you to help us out with a show ID. All we ask you to do is say This Otaku's Life, with pauses in between. And if you're brave enough, we'd even love to hear your side of one of the topics we've already covered. We don't want to read your words, we want to hear your voice. So send us audio, tell your side, and share and connect. And even let us know, what does being an otaku mean to you? Once again, everyone, thank you for listening. We appreciate the downloads, the ever-growing community. And until next week, have a good one.